Who beats?
Wait, what?
You don't know the mascot?
Oh yeah, mascots. Yeah.
Yes, I definitely know the mascots of BronyCon.
Of course, main event.
Yeah.
Oh, that's us. I see. Sorry, I'm a little slow today.
Yeah. It's a work in progress. We're kind of figuring out if we're supposed to start or not, because not everybody's in.
Well, let's get the party started.
Alright, should we introduce ourselves?
I think so. Or we do the whole panel without explaining who we are, and then we reveal it at the twist at the end.
So you're saying your twist?
Nah, usually twist at the end just make for a really lame.
Alright, well let's reveal who we are now then.
I think so.
Who are you?
I'm Black Griffin.
I'm Saber Star.
Well, I was gonna go with the joke, but I'm a little shy if I am.
Alright, I'll go next. I'm Viva Reverie.
And I am Minty Root.
And we are the YouTube Ponies.
So, with season 9 ending very soon, not being, doom boasting, but, it's gonna happen. A lot of people just want to see ponies just in motion, and I think one of the great things with YouTube is that we can create our own content, our own ideas, our own, for example, animation, live action videos, reactions, everything that we can make to just keep the spirit going. And I think with this panel we can talk about what we can do as creators. Obviously we don't have the budget that DHX has, we don't have the promotion that Hasbro has, we don't have what they have.
A lot of it's in-house, just figuring it out as you go. I am not an art student or anything. I figured out how to animate by guessing.
But we have something that Hasbro doesn't have. We do have the ability to ship the ponies that they're not registered.
First.
Oh, snap!
I hope there's no one from Hasbro in the house today.
What's the worst that they're gonna do?
They're gonna end BronyCon, that's what.
It's worth the risk.
There's still people coming in. Can we like applaud for the people who are still coming in? Thank you everybody for showing up. This is really cool.
But remember, the fandom is dying.
Oh, the fandom is very dead right now.
I know, I forgot about it,
Visually, we can tell how dead the fandom is and we can.
but like, what, there's 15 people in the
I'm
audience?
being sarcastic. Just there's at least 15 people here, I think it's it. All right. Do we want to start talking about YouTube ponies? That is the name of this panel.
I think so.
All right. Let's talk about how to create a YouTube channel.
Okay.
First, you create a Google account.
I've had a lot of people who came to me and they were saying, well, I'm gonna start a YouTube channel soon. And I'm just thinking, no, just do it now.
Yeah.
Like, it's gonna take 10 minutes. They're gonna ask you for your phone number so you can have videos over 15 minutes long, unless it changes since then. That's it.
Yeah. It is. It used to be a very no, I guess it never was a complicated sort of thing to set things. It's like how I originally did it is I'm like, I want to make videos, and so I looked up video making programs. No, I didn't, because Windows by default had Windows Media, no, not Media, Windows Movie Maker, and I used that for my really, really, really early stuff. This is before, but it was a start, and that's definitely the best place to just like. The easiest entry-level stuff is where you should be looking if you've never done it before. And
any early start, anything can do.
Yes.
Even if it's the free Windows Movie Maker, you don't. I see a lot of people, they jump to like, oh, I got to save up for this and that. It's like,
Gotta
no.
get Adobe Audition to
Yeah.
edit your audio. No,
No,
get Audacity.
Yeah.
It is free, and I still use it. It's
I
fine.
had Audition with the suite, and I still use Audacity. I love it.
Yeah, it's great.
Well, that and cameras, like I'm gonna get, a red camera, like
Oh, yeah, yeah.
$6,000 cameras, that feel really good because I use that for movies. Things that cost like millions of dollars to do. Just use your phone.
Yeah, it's fine. Like if you have a creative idea, this is my number one tip. By the way, tip number one: YouTube ponies. Tip number one: if you have a creative idea, you will shine above the rest, no matter the quality. So one of the is this cheating to say the very first pony videos I made were about pony toys? So here's a little Celestia toy.
I love to make new friends.
So this is the same Celestia from that video, which is pretty exciting. A rare piece of history. It is exciting. I bring it to every convention I'm going to now. I know people like to see it. Okay, so my initial idea when I wanted to make pony videos was I'm just gonna have fun with these stupid toys. This Celestia is not what says things that regular Celestia would not say, such as bad example. But a lot of them are. My barrettes are so pretty. Like, okay, Celestia, asterisk.
So here's the question that is in everybody's mind. Is it the same battery as the first video?
Yep, no, I haven't changed the batteries. These things are obscenely durable.
So the Phantom is gonna live as long as those batteries live.
Hopefully longer, but yes.
That's good to know.
Yeah, so my initial idea was I'm gonna have fun with these toys. Nobody had really done anything like that before, as far as I know. Or at least maybe I was like the first one to sort of get in people's like, what's the word I'm looking for? Eye sockets. And I like found a way to turn making fun of these stupid toys into a thing. And my video quality back then was not fantastic. It was just off my old iPhone that I still use as a phone, which is a terrible idea. I just winged it, and people caught on, and it can be that way for anybody. And I think that's one of the really exciting things about like just making videos. If you have a really cool idea, do it. Here's a tip. Tip number 2 for YouTube ponies. If you want to make content that would entertain you, there will be other people who probably have similar interests and like the same things you do. So even if a video is one that only you would like, that's like the best place to start, I think.
You said something funny.
What did I say?
Winged it.
Let's go.
I'm a princess. Are you a princess too?
Thank you, Celestia.
So I guess I should mention where I got my start on YouTube, because I've actually made a wide variety of things. There was just like a couple that really stood out, people started subscribing for. But really, my start was just recording silly little videos and then extracting the ponies from the show and putting them in my videos. And I was kind of starting the Pony in Real Life thing, which you might know, Storm XF, he's the one doing the big videos now. So that's the sort of video I was making, except not nearly as good as his today, of course. But and then I slowly started making other stuff, PMVs, or Cinemare Sins is a big one. And somewhat more recently, the top 10 pony videos, which has been a pleasure to work on. So yeah, big variety here.
Yeah. Oh, I almost forgot to mention that I'm not doing the toy videos anymore. I moved on to animated, which is like a very weird leap. I go from I'm recording the ground with a little toy on it. And then I moved on to, hey, so now I'm making full animated productions. What's up with that? That was sort of like a luck sort of thing where I knew how to make things in Flash, which is the animating program of my choice. And I just sort of said, well, if I'm doing pony videos now that people are liking, I'll try other avenues, and then that turned into its own thing. And I think one of the biggest things, tip number 3, I guess, I don't know if you count this as a tip, is that if you have like a special subset of a skill, then maybe you could use that as like motivation for trying out something unique. Like, I know that there's one person who made like, so here's my horse. The horse's name is Viva Rezo, which is also what I call myself. And there was like a person who gave me like a metal version of this made of like scrap metal, and it's like really clunky and heavy. It's like bits of car and springs for legs, and it's really cool. And I'm thinking like, if somebody just like crafted those, like that would catch on, I think. Like make it into a fun sort of thing. There's like many ideas like that like a subset of a skill can lead into, and make a nice, potentially pretty popular channel. Which I should all. Tip number 4. I'm sorry, we're getting real rapid firing tips here. Do not do it for the attention. This is a very, very important thing where like if you're in it just to go for lowest common denominator, sort of like, oh, people will definitely like this, then you're probably going to run out of steam pretty quickly if you're not interested. And then that's sort of a hard place to be. I very, very much suggest if you want to make videos for a long time, make sure it's something which I guess is a subset of tip number 2, I believe, which is make something that like you would like. There you go. There's my tips. Do you want more tips? Let me get the tips.
The way I see it is the entire community, the entire Brony community, including the video community, is broken down into like sub-communities and niches. You know, animation, reviews, even reaction videos, and you know, like
analysts.
Yeah, everything. The idea is to find like your specific niche, and sometimes you can feel around to help yourself find it. Kind of like the Cutie Mark Crusaders, kind of finding your own cutie mark and all that. But yeah, once you find it, you'll probably know what it is. The perfect combination of what you're passionate about, and also preferably something other people want to see. Once you find that, that's where you know where you're at.
Yes, very much agree. I just realized that I did my introduction, and then Will Shai did his introduction. I haven't done yours yet.
Oh, right. So I'm Minty Root. I'm a fan animator. I also did a couple of things in live action, but also work as a special effect artist. So I got to experiment a bit with things. Basically, I'm here in the fandom since 2013. I started with just using Flash animation, very basic rigs, very basic setups, and trying to tell stories with it. And then eventually I discovered tricks along the way. And that was my path to discovering the fandom. Oh, I mean discovery of myself in the fandom. I mean.
Yes.
And it got me to discover a couple of things that are really interesting. And one of the tips I want to talk about is trying to find creative solutions to problems. What happened during one of my announcement videos I wanted to do was to just tell that I was driving to BronyCon. So I was thinking, instead of just having me driving to BronyCon, just having my plushie just on the passenger seat, I was thinking, okay, let's do the opposite. Let's have the plushie drive while I'm just sitting. And you're thinking, okay, what is the best way to pull that off? And a few ideas came in to my mind. I was thinking either a shot where the camera's in passenger seat, I'm pointing to the plushie on the wheel and just try to pretend that there's some background at the back and just shake the camera. I was even thinking, let's try to find a road where there's nobody, it's not even considered a road, and just drive the car, like put it on drive.
The dangerous option.
The dangerous option. And then obviously I was thinking, look, even if it's a road where there's nothing, where I can just leave the car just driving on its own while filming in the passenger seat. My insurance
needs a disclaimer. Kids, don't try this at home.
Well, kids don't
Stay in first gear.
Well, yeah. Then I realized, okay, even if it's totally safe, the insurance company might see it, and so it came to my mind. Okay, let's green screen it, and then I realized I don't have green screen. So what did I do instead? Spoilers. Seriously?
on the spot, organizing folders. Exciting. BronyCon 2019. Woo!
This isn't E3. This is all real.
Best part?
Thank you. You're breathtaking. Yeah? BronyCon.
Veronica, I like that con.
Wow. Alright, explain what's going on here.
Well, it is, I think.
What? It is not on screen!
What?
We were dealing with it and it's
Oh
showing-
my god, no.
We're just gonna watch it without you guys. Top secret.
This is
Okay.
exciting.
Oh my god, I know what the hell happened.
Let's do more tips. More tips while we're waiting. Alright. Tip number, what are we up to? 5, I think. Tip number 5, if you want to do animating, look up tutorials because it is very, very confusing. And chances are, even the people who you admire, they started off by just going on YouTube and being like, oh, is that what a puppet is? Like, it's definitely like that everybody has a starting point. Some people go to a school. I did not. I completely figured things out, just like at home, just like, all right, I want to make a silly animation with a horse. How do I get it? And then I discovered how Flash interacts with like your character puppets and like symbols inside of symbols, which is essentially body parts. Like you've got legs, which are a body part inside, like the torso. No, I mean. It depends on your workflow, but essentially, everybody has like their own way of figuring things out, and you will never figure it out unless you'll never figure your own way out unless you go and experiment and look up tutorials and be like, I drew a stick man, and then progress will be made. Wow, there's still people entering. Isn't this exciting? Thank you very much for coming, everybody.
So I'm kind of glad that we got that AV problem because that didn't give the spoilers for how it happened.
Oh boy.
So let's do it. There's no sound, I
Have
think.
fun, cry together because animation is kind of sad. And
I'm coming. Sorry, it was just, shooting an announcement video. Sorry.
being alone. This shot is done.
I hope this isn't the dangerous method.
But she has her driver's license. So that thing was not as complex as it sounded because actually I have a very simple breakdown.
You cheated is what you're saying.
Don't you?
Yeah, actually, yes. Tip number 6, if it's not on camera, don't animate it. If you're drawing a horse walking but the camera goes this high, you don't need to animate their legs. They're just bobbing up and down like a swan, and nobody will ever know.
So the actual shot was a bit like this. So the car itself, obviously we decided to film it in a parking lot to get the actual lighting from outside because if we went with green screen, we'd have green reflecting the car.
Which you can edit out, it just takes a lot more time.
Yeah, and we don't always have time. So a blue patch to cover up the reflection from the wall of the house. A roto of the entire zone of the car because the car was static. Then roto that part of the window. And the back itself, we realized was a single color, so it was much easier. Just key it like that. Then apply the yeah. There we go. Then apply the background, which was just stock footage I found from YouTube. Then just to try to sell. And there was a null here. Basically, what it does with the wiggle. Basically just shaking around. So by shaking around, just giving that shake of a camera filming a car that's moving. And then just a pass to just improve the colors. So here you really saw the clipping of the camera, and you saw some kind of bloom effect, and then a bit of light like that. There was a few other things, for example, reflection in the windows. It was just the same stock footage playing backwards.
I think it's worth pointing out, this is compositing.
Yep.
So it's kind of, in a way, a combination of video editing and animation.
Yes.
So it's somewhere in the middle in a way. It's different, but I guess you can make a comparison from a technical sense. And maybe, I don't know if you pointed out, this is After Effects, so this is a little more advanced for beginners. But
Yes, this is not your beginning, where you would begin. You would probably begin in Microsoft Paint and figure things out.
Who remembers Pivot?
Pivot was great! Who remembers Pivot? Pivot was a stick figure animating software where you drag limbs around and the program interpolates the frames between them, and you're just like, I made an animation. And I guess you did.
It's always two stickmans fighting.
Oh, yes. You can definitely make some really, really good, even though it is a really basic entry-level program, if you understand the fundamentals of how to make something look good, you've got your 7 principles, 12 principles of animation. I'm stupid. Shut up. And with that, you can sort of figure out. Okay, so some bounce and stretch, and you've got some smear frames in there. You can make something that would otherwise look really basic, look really lively and exciting, and that's all. Again, stuff on YouTube. Just Google how do I animate a thing, and Google will be like, press these buttons, and eventually it'll come out.
it's always some 14-year-old giving the tutorials, right?
Well, yeah, if you're lucky, you can get someone a bit who really understands their stuff. You got some professional places, like Lynda is pretty professional. I think Skillshare is another one. Yeah, which has people who really understand everything.
Not sponsored, not sponsored.
Not sponsored. We're just giving tips. Yeah, these people just know what they're doing. They're just saying, okay, so here's a nice little listicle tutorial thing, and here's how it'll help you start off what you want to do. Yeah.
Although, be careful with tutorials. I've also seen people who were so addicted to tutorials, they would try to find tutorials for everything, and obviously tutorials have their own limit. So once in a while you have to figure out solutions on your own.
Yes.
Yeah, that's actually a good point. If you follow a tutorial too closely and you're trying to match them step for step, well, I mean, inherently, then you can't make your own thing. You're just making what the tutorials making. So yeah, you use tutorials to figure out how to use the software, but try not to get too bobbled up in individual steps.
That was something that I once upon a time did muddle myself up with. This is only partially related, but I used to fiddle around with Flash to make video games. So with coding in Flash, you have, okay, so I want this to do this and this and this and this and this to do this. And I followed tutorials by copying and pasting the code. Okay, as your very early stuff, you can do that, but you're also not making something uniquely your own. You want to be understanding the fundamentals of why was this put in this way. So when you press the right button, the character goes right, but what in the code is making them do that? Oh, it's changing a variable, and that variable is mapped to their x coordinate. And so once you understand those, you realize, oh, I can do the same thing with the y coordinate, and it blooms off from there. So that's tip number 8. No, we definitely... 7. 7 sounds right. I could be wrong.
I don't
Okay,
think
it's
major
the
ones.
tips that count, not the number.
Yeah, so there's just like a wide range. Like you mentioned, like animating in Flash, and you saw After Effects,
Yes.
and I feel like I'm compelled to represent the rest of us who aren't animators. I'm the only one on this panel that I don't animate, but
Well, you did animate.
well, yeah, it depends what you define as animation. Because when you
Right.
open up After Effects and start moving stuff around, I guess that counts as animation. Right?
Does it give the illusion of movement?
Yeah, so also the other ways you can make videos is just simple reviews, because if you have an engaging personality, all you need is to sit in front of the camera and talk, you know?
Yes,
The
that's
biggest tip I can give is maybe edit it down the best you can, because I see a lot of people
Oh,
on for like
yes.
an hour, and you don't really get an audience that way. But yeah, if you could just sit in front of the camera and chat about something you like, and you know, that works. You don't have, I'm trying to say you don't have to jump into animation and After Effects and all
Oh
that.
yes, it's definitely, if you want to do animation, then look into animation. If you have other aspirations, then like those will probably be fine too. Once again, talking about the previous tips, if there's something that you want to do and something that would entertain you, then you'll probably find an audience to entertain as well. Yeah, it is number 2. Thank you, person in
You're
the
keeping
audience.
track, wow.
I'm glad you're keeping track. All right. So, we've done our. What's next for the panel?
Q&A.
Q&A. Wow. Okay. Sounds good. So do we have? How are we going to do questions?
From what I've understood, they would ask them questions on paper, and then we
Do we have that prepared?
I think so. Oh, there we go.
Okay. Good.
Give it up for the staff.
Give it up for Scott. Fantastic. All right. What's the plan, staff member? Line them up. Okay, so we're going to start a line, and then everybody will write their questions down on a piece of paper and put it in the bucket, question mark?
Oh,
Okay,
okay.
good. So our friendly staff member will read it. And so if we want to get a line, where are we getting a line? Right, this lane. Anybody who wants to ask a question, get in a line in that lane.
So what are we framing for the questions here? Just anything video related?
Anything, I'd say, I'd say, like, branch it out to anything. It could be about YouTube, it could be about us specifically. Figure it out as we're going along. So while people are lining up, let's see if we can think of one more thing to talk about. Do we have a tip? Do either of you have any tips? Thank you. Should I be the only one to offer the tips?
Trying to think of something you haven't said already.
Okay, let me think. Tip number 9, or whatever we're up to. 8 sounds right. Tip number 8. Remember to give your videos a good thumbnail, because there will be plenty of people who will get a video in their related video section and not click on it because they're like, I don't care for that thumbnail. So make something like eye-catching and exciting. Make sure it's relevant to the video. That's cool.
You know, to be honest, we could have a panel just on thumbnails.
Yes,
Like,
there's a lot of thumbnail fundamentals and there's like rules.
I got 2 really quick mini tips just
Oh,
for
boy.
thumbnails. So the human eyes are usually attracted to faces, so having some sort
Yes.
of face in the thumbnails.
That's also why it's a good idea to have a face as your profile picture, I believe. It attracts people and makes you feel more like a person and not a company. Unless you are a company.
Yeah. And I got one more. I actually heard this from Vsauce. They say if you shrink down the thumbnail down to the size of like a postage stamp and it still looks good, even if you can't read text in it, just shrink it down, and if it looks good, then that's a
Then
good
it's
sign it's a
fine.
good thumbnail. Right?
Yes. There are definitely some people who are up there that get like really big numbers and they have really tiny text in their thumbnails, but it's fine because like the rest of the thumbnail looks fine. Or maybe they have a reason for it. It's different for different people.
Oh, and
do we have
no
questions?
No typos in the title as well.
Typo? Yo, there was a video that mini tangent time. I made an animation called My Little Her Fishing. There's a H at the start of fishing, and that was intentional. And Equestria Daily fixed the typo.
Artistic decision.
It was an artistic decision, and they called it My Little Fishing, and they were wrong.
Oh boy. Okay, how long does it take to make you an animation? boy, to make just one animation can take, for sometimes some animation can take just 3 days. Like, for example, just a setup with 3 shots. Just an establishing shot, a reaction shot, and just that thing can be done in 3 days. You have things with 50 shots that just happen. It can take 8 months, it can take even more. It takes a lot of time depending on what you want to achieve. One of the things I suggest is do something that's long to proof it. Do a storyboard and then animate it first instead of trying to make all the shots on your own.
Yeah, I think you both have lots of experience when it comes to making animations over long
Yes.
periods of time.
Oh, do you mind if I chill for a millisecond? So there is an animation called Bernie Polka Animated that I presented at BronyCon 2016, 3 years ago, at this convention, and it's finally finished, and I'm presenting it at this convention tomorrow at Animating Live. That's a 3-year period from start to. It wasn't started in it was kind of started in 2016, but it was mostly we're getting a lot of questions. I should probably wrap this up a little bit. But that was a 3-year project, and so there's some things that just take ages, and there's actually a question here which is very relevant. Viva, what video challenged you the most? And I'd say it's probably Bernie Polka Animated. So it's just like very arduous. A lot of it, it's like, okay, it wasn't 3 years straight working on it. A lot of it was me trying to find the motivation to okay, I do want to finish this video, but I also have other things I want to do, and I'm busy with other IRL stuff. And so it's definitely a very it's a complex, you're fighting yourself with making these videos sometimes too. It's just oh, can I get through this? I'm rambling a bit. We have a lot of questions.
We do have a lot
I think
of
I
questions.
answered it mostly there.
So I can take one. Of course, this is to everyone up here, but this one stood out to me because the question is, who is best pony? I was eager to answer this question, but then below it they wrote, aside from Derpy.
Oh
So I guess this has to go to one of you guys.
Well, I'm gonna say Luna.
Okay.
I always feel conflicted with this one, but I like saying either Pinkie Pie or Rainbow Dash. Ask me on different days, and I'll have a different answer. Otherwise, I also have a lot to say about Cheese Sandwich. Weird Al's being in the show, period, is fantastic, and I love it. Next question. How do you deal with copyright with your fan videos?
Again, the whole panel, just this would work.
Yeah, so the easy answer is you don't, and you just hope. But definitely, you've got if you're making music videos, then you just either have to suck it up and say, I'm going to get copyright claimed on this, and I hope it doesn't get blocked worldwide or something, or I get a strike on my channel or something. But there are ways around it. For example, maybe you could do a cover of a song. I'm pretty sure that's 100% fine.
Arguably.
Yeah,
Depends who you ask.
there's an
Don't ask Warner.
asterisk over that as well. There's also, you can try and find us royalty-free stuff online where you will not get copyright claimed for any of it because you're not supposed to, because that's the point of royalty-free public domain. That kind of stuff is totally fine. Otherwise, you just pray that it's fine. I sort of have a self-imposed thing where I say I don't like monetizing anything that has music I didn't make in it. So, there's a couple exceptions, but they're piece by piece. Yeah, so copyright sucks.
Yeah.
Well, one of the things, you're probably gonna get demonetized for music, but for video you might get a strike. So
Yes.
avoid video.
Oh yeah, do not. The only reason why you should include video in your thing is either if it's, I think there's like rules for it, like, oh, you can present video in your video as long as it's like either transformative or it's less than 7 seconds or something like that.
Yeah, there isn't an exact 7 second. There isn't like an exact seconds thing, but you're right about transformers.
Yes.
If you're repurposing the work and it's still related to the original work, that's derivative, and that's not really fair
Yes.
usually. Asterisk.
It's,
but,
look it up online is the tip.
so like most pony videos are actually derivative of My Little Pony. Unless you're doing a review, that is a little bit different because it's criticism. But yeah, I could talk endlessly about fair use. I do have a video on my channel if anybody, I don't mean to like plug it, but where I go in detail about Hasbro and Content ID and all that. So check it out if you haven't already.
Next question.
Do you have any regrets in animation? I got a bunch. But a lot of it can be summed up to rush pre-production because obviously, you know, you realize that, you know, that what you want to do is going to take a long time, so you want to get it started as quickly as possible. Once in a while, it just gives some really bad results. For example, rushing the writing process. So you end up with a lesser story, rushing for example, if you create puppets and you get some really weird things that occur while working in it, you realize that your rigs just don't work and you have to patch them all the time. Or for example, you leave a glaring mistake that just in one rig that just occurs in all the shots, so you need to patch all the shots instead. Yeah, it can be really annoying. And for short productions, that's bad because, you know, you're probably going to take 3 weeks to get the entire thing done. It's going to be there, you learn from the lesson. But if the production takes a year, well, it's a whole year of pain.
I just realized, extrapolating from what you said there, tip number 10, cool, we're in the double digits. If you're early, 9, I'm wrong again, I keep thinking, all right, you're right. Tip number 9 is, if you are starting out, start with short projects. Because if you dive straight in saying, I'm gonna make a 2-hour movie, then you will run into so many roadblocks and there'll be things that you didn't realize you should have done differently. So the definitely very, very good tip is just chill out and say, I'm just gonna make like a thing that's a minute long at most or something. Or maybe not even, I guess it depends on the kind of work.
You can make short, silly videos for fun that are just seconds long, and you can still learn a lot from that sort of thing.
Yes, very, very highly recommended. Try things out, and you'll make it. Let's go to another. I've got a very quick question here. Viv, when is part 3 of JoJo, but really, really fast, coming out? That's a video series that I'm making on my channel. It's coming out after I'm done with BronyCon because I've been working on Brony Polka Animated until now. Thank you, whoever asked that question.
All right, I got one here for everyone up here. What is the most hardest, but also the most rewarding video you worked on? And I personally have kind of like a 2-part answer to this one. Was the Reading Dumb Messages video I made recently. That was a really big production where I filmed it across many days and put it all together, and it was really rewarding just because I liked how it came out. But also the Equestria Girls Sins videos, because they were difficult to make because of their length, and I spent a lot of time on them, but they were kind of where my channel got its start and a lot of people found me. So both those were very rewarding. How about you guys?
In my case, Luna's determination, because it really helped me to just find a way to actually get animations done that actually feel like what they were meant to be. Using a really effective pre-production process. Also, it really helped me to find a bit more my style. So.
I forgot what the question was. I was managing through these.
Most difficult, but most rewarding.
Oh, most difficult, most rewarding. There's definitely been like, there was one where I did like a Danganronpa parody with characters from my animations, and a lot of people like really got into that, and that was like an hour-long thing. So that's definitely one of the happiest ones I got, because I like put a lot of like little like bits and pieces of, oh, is this, will people catch on to this? And then they did, and that's always great to see. I've got 2 questions here which are basically the same question, so I'd like to answer both of them at the same time. When you get stuck on something, what's your strategy for working through it? And the second one is, I'm an animator myself, college animator. What keeps your motive strong? It's definitely one of the biggest things that I look for in responses to a video I've made is comments and responses. Like I love seeing people like actually commenting and saying like, yeah, I really like what you did. It's like I read like all of them, it's really exciting, and that's definitely like, it's just numbers otherwise. If you don't have people saying things with words, it's just, oh, I got 200,000 views on this video, but it means nothing because everybody's just saying like nothing about it. It's always the comments that keeps me coming back. And likewise, if you're like, there's sort of the idea that like, if you have like 200,000 people looking at a video, but like only 10 of them are like really, really engaged, those 10 can like make your day. That kind of thing, yeah.
All right, I got a question here that was addressed to me. How did you get the shots flying with Rainbow Dash? And I'm trying to think here. I'm not sure exactly what video that would be, and I'm hoping this person didn't confuse him with Storm XF because he's the one doing all these cool shots. But I do remember one time I made a shot with Rainbow Dash flying. I just used images from Google Earth, and again,
10,000 subscribers.
Oh, 10,000.
That was mine.
Oh, thank you. I don't actually remember that shot, but yeah, I probably used HitFilm, just compositing similar to what we've seen in After Effects here. Again, I'm afraid I don't remember that one shot, but yeah, thank you for the question.
Do you have one? I've got a which Bronies Reacts video is your favorite that you participated in? So that would be me and Will Shy.
Yeah.
We could be leaving this for the Bronies React now, but no, it's fine. I'd say there was the one where I fell off the bed. That was a good joke. There was also the I believe it was Legends of Everfree where we all dressed up and I got like this big Rainbow Dash mess of an outfit and it looks terrible, but it was something, and that was exciting.
I guess my favorite would be Slice of Life for the derpy jokes.
I wasn't there for that one.
Yes. All right, any more questions? I'll take some questions.
Oh yeah, sorry.
When it comes to editing, how do you choose what to keep or get rid of, expand upon? One of the things with animation is that you can't really afford to animate a shot and get rid of it. So one of the things that happens is that during the storyboard and animatic process, most of those shots just get deleted at that point instead of getting deleted afterwards. Because otherwise we would be wasting weeks of work just to something that is not useful. Which is also why I think pre-production is very important if you work on a project, because I made a mistake. I started a whole project once and I realized midway through that I could just not pull it at all. So I had to redo it entirely. And I think I wasted 6 months on it.
All right, I got two here that are kind of similar. One is how many errors do you find in your works before you post it? And once you upload a video, have you ever noticed mistakes? And this goes to everyone, and I'm pretty sure we can all answer yes. I know in my videos there's always at least like one big mistake, and I try to get them beforehand, of course. Usually it's typos and stuff for me. But I want to hear from animators what sort of mistakes you
The
see.
thing about animating is very, very often I'm just like, oh, I could fix that up, oh, I could fix that up, oh, I could fix that up, but if you're doing that forever, tip number 10, tip number 10, okay, so, tip number 10 is, we're finally actually in double digits this time. Sometimes you just have to stop. Sometimes you just have to be done with the video, because if you're modifying things over and over and over again, eventually it just takes too long for anything to happen. You got to move on eventually, and so eventually you just have to put down your pen, push away from your table, and say, okay, I'm going to release this. And it happens to everybody, and if you dwell on one thing for too long, you'll never get it done.
I think the worst mistake I've ever let in a video was the cause of me trying to fix another mistake.
Oh yeah.
So I was at CMPC 2017. I was doing the opening ceremonies animation, and I was preparing it to be released after the opening ceremonies. What happened is that I realized right before the con that I needed to fix a mistake with the credits. So I had to go back on the editing, swap the credits, put them back on the video and render it on my laptop using remote access to my own computer because I couldn't access, I couldn't have my things on me. So I did. And then I realized after the release of the video that there was a glitch frame at about 2 seconds in that came just that one time. So it was just spawning.
It's not a bug, it's a feature. It's an Easter egg, you know?
Surprise mechanic.
Usually you're not supposed to notice those Easter eggs the first time.
So we've got 15 minutes left, so let's try and rapid fire a few of these.
I got a quick one here. So what's your favorite animation you worked on? And mine, in terms of animation specifically, is the most recent Derby Pony Night video, because that actually had some real animation in it.
I'd say I've got a very large, not necessarily my favorite because I've already detailed over Brady Polk animated Trigger Happy Horses, which is the Danganronpa parody. I have a very big affinity for Applejack is a Rebellious Rocker, which is like a very, very old one where Applejack is singing to one of the Weird Al polka medleys, which I just love that one. It's just nice and charming. So shout outs to that one. Questions? Here's one.
How many?
No, you go first.
Okay, how many frames per second do your videos usually have?
24 frames per second, and there is a reason for it. It is because 24 is divisible by 12, 6, 3, 2, and 4.
So yeah, that is a very much an animator's question.
Yes.
Me personally, I like higher the better. 60 should be the standard, but that's not an animation thing. That's just a
Yes.
YouTuber thing.
There's definitely people who animate at 30, which is fine. It's just if you're going for like, oh, I'm going to animate in twos as opposed to, oh, it's animator speak. But essentially, it means that you can have things go at very regular speeds while still being like relatively high. It's confusing.
Oh, and 24. Oh, and I have a more personal one. Why did I choose to go from Flash to Toon Boom? I think the answer is kind of boring, but Flash kind of sucks. So one of the things with Flash, first of all, it causes a lot of lag because the rendering engine that they use for the display is entirely CPU only, so it's gonna crawl just to get those 24 frames per second. There's a lot of limited options. You don't have any 3D, so for example, if you want some perspective effect, you need to fake it yourself. You can rotate objects in 3D space. All you have is skewing, which is really limited, and even when you skew, it doesn't want to tween the right way.
All right, so I have another question here, and this kind of goes out to everyone. The first one was, to me specifically, are you planning to make Cinemersons after the show ends? And my answer personally is, yeah, I can keep making videos for many more years. But, so that also goes with you guys, because there was another one here. Do you plan to continue making pony videos after the show ends?
This is actually an interesting question because for me in particular, I'm sort of trying to like branch out to other sort of like fandom stuff. I've done like a couple of anime videos. I did one on Death Note. I did a couple on JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, and so there's definitely like a few pony videos that I think would be fun to do. I'm obviously premiering Brady Polka animated here, but I am definitely trying to branch out to other things. It's not a case of I'm leaving the fandom. It's more a case of I'm trying to find other fandoms to have fun with as well. So,
Do we have any quick questions? Because we got to wrap up
yes,
here.
quick questions. So
I do have a couple.
Go ahead.
All right, so what's your favorite pony villain?
Pony villain. Chrysalis.
I'm going with Starlight Glimmer before she was good.
I've got one. I don't know if this is short, but I'm shy with my voice, but want to entertain. What would you recommend to motivate YouTube stuff? Okay, so essentially, I'd say this definitely extrapolates off the previous tip where make something that you think you would enjoy. Definitely go with the singing in the shower mentality, where you just pretend nobody can hear you. I'd say this is definitely a good way to sort of like jump out of that hurdle of, oh no, I can't focus because I'm thinking of everybody who's looking at me. If you don't think about that, and then you can create something great.
All right, quick one. What's your favorite MLP crossover? And they mentioned Fall Out Equestria. I think that would be my answer. How big it is.
That was for the two of us. What shocked you the most about the United States of America?
The very surprising thing about going to the US is when you have two people walking from opposite ends of a path, you go to the right. just like roads. In Australia, you go to the left, and so the first few times I traveled here, kept bumping into people, and it was very awkward.
What surprised me the most, you don't have flashing greens. What the hell?
It's 2019. Any tips for getting started so late in the show's life? Once again, I'd definitely say it's if you have a unique idea, or if you have, or if you have something that you would like to see, then you make that. Alternatively, Generation 4 is over. Generation 5? Maybe. Yahoo. Oh, this one definitely applies to me. Have you ever had software/electricity problems and lost your entire progress? In the middle of working on Bernie Hulk Animated, a laptop I was using to work on it got fried in a thunderstorm, and that was fun. Here's the good news: I could never turn it on again after that, but I could take the hard drive out, and I figured out, okay, SATA connection, and I eventually got the data off it, but that like halted my progress for a long time.
I had one of my graphics card break right during a production, so I ended up using the internal GPU of my desktop trying to finish the whole project.
Only some people understand the pain of that.
I had a week left to finish a promo for BabsCon 2017, and I realized because of the internal graphics that I could only use one monitor instead of three, and one of the effects I use in After Effects wouldn't work.
So I never got an answer from you two. Your favorite MLP crossover?
Right. I don't think I answered because I couldn't think of one. But there's definitely
so many.
Yeah, exactly. How about does Brony Polka Animated? No, Brony Polka the song count? That's a crossover between Weird Al polka medleys and the Pony fandom. There you go. Here's one. To the panel. As a more general tip to new content creators, how do you balance your audience concerns with creative vision and personal needs? Once again, I'd say this is a singing in the shower thing where you just like, if I want to make something, then I will make it. There's been a few videos that I've made that didn't get many views, but I really wanted to make. I'm a big fan of Lemon Demon, who is this is the person who makes music. I made a few quote-unquote music videos. I say quote-unquote. A couple of them are music videos. A couple of them are just like the song and the lyrics, and it goes to the beat, and it's really fun to watch. Like that's just like a passion project sort of thing but not many people saw it, and I kind of don't mind because it was just an exciting thing for me to make. Next question, unless you have answers.
I got one ready. What got you into the show? And my answer is, I just found it as like a meme, and it got me curious.
Yeah, kind of. I got in, like, after season 2, I just like, oh, everybody's talking about this, so it'll probably be something I'd enjoy. Fine, let's watch an episode. I watched an episode, I guess here I am now. Like,
my best friend couldn't hide his pony ties, so I saw them at the counter and I was just asking him questions, and eventually I got answers.
Oh, here's an interesting one. How did you come up with your username and tips for others to create their own? I'll start with mine. Actually, I'll start with the one I used before, Viva Reverie. Viva Reverie is what I go with now. I started off as I'm a Toon Link, which I did as like a roleplay channel for Toon Link, the character from the Zelda series, more specifically Smash Bros. That was just like sort of like, oh, I'm just gonna use this as a name. I changed to Viva Reverie. Viva Reverie is like it's kind of like okay, so you got Viva, which is like life or like life, and then you've got Reverie, which is like a sort of daydream. And so if you combine it up, it's like Viva Reverie, live the dream, living like power to the dream, like make something that like you dream of. Essentially, I did that by like looking through a thesaurus and just sort of like just fiddling around. Just like, oh, what sounds good, sounds vaguely name-ish, and is unique and means something. That's how I came up with mine.
I used to be known as Player.exe back in 2013, and I hated when people just shortened it to player. So eventually, just realized, okay, I'm just gonna steal my niece's name. So I did.
So I've actually, it's kind of unique. I've never changed my name since joining the fandom. It's always been Little Shy or Little Shy if I am. And absolutely no thought went into that. I have no story. I was signing up for some forums or something. I needed usernames like, oh, I need a pony name. Little from My Little Pony, Shy from Fluttershy, FIM, because surely someone took Little Shy by now. So yeah, that's where that came from. We only got like 4 minutes here. So.
Yeah, we're more rapid fire. 2 all. When working with voice actors / actresses, who was fun to work with? So, like, if we have any names, we can talk about them. I did work with a few of the Brony Analyst people for a couple of collab projects, so you've got A Serpent's Tale, you've got the Shipping Game, you've got the Charlie Brown Christmas parody. I worked with wonderful people. I worked with Dusty Cat, I worked with Anthony C, I worked with Silver Quill, I worked with I Love Compossible a lot, I worked with, oh my god, so many names, but Mike, I did not work with them. I mean, not in an animation, but yes. I did work with Scribble, but yeah, these people like being able to the energy that they bring. Anthony, I need to shout out especially, is fantastic to work with. It's a shame he wasn't able to come here. He's from Australia too, but oh man, it's great. I love working with other people.
So I've got another one. Who is the worst character in the show or film? And I'll go first. I think Grubber. Yes. Grubber's the worst character.
Don't you mean Grubber the Hedgehog?
I don't have an answer because I...
No, in the whole show and the movie? You don't have a worst?
No. I mean, I could if you asked me, like, after I reviewed the entire show again, but...
How about Cozy Glow?
I like Cozy Glow. I like her.
Here's another one. For someone who is always working, is it possible to start an animation or start animating or just making a channel period? I say yes. Just like, if you have some passion, then you can squeeze it in your free time, no matter what it is. If you have something, you can do it. That's definitely my tip number 11. If you want to do a thing, you can do it! Yay! Out of questions?
We have 2 more minutes, and I think we're out of questions.
Okay, I've got a couple that are specifically for me, which I don't know if they're too relevant to the panel, but I'll very quickly go. Thanks to your Danganronpa animation, I got addicted to the series. What was the most challenging part of making the thing? The most challenging part was a spoiler to the video, but at the very end we find out that it was Celestia who killed Santa. So I do a fun little animation bit for that, and that took a little bit of a while. Actually, there was also there was the fact that it was all like, a lot of it was like done via script as opposed to me animating things by hand. And so I'm like, I need to make this all. I used my coding powers for that, and that's exciting. So hey, that came back in the end. And
I think that's about it, actually.
yeah, I suppose so. All right.
We wish you all a wonderful time at the convention, and obviously a shout out to the staff. And we'll see you around.
Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe. And don't forget to hit that bell icon to get notified of new videos uploaded to this channel.